rebounds, 7 assists for James Harden. The Clippers get 12 points from Simmons, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. And they eke one out in comeback fashion. What a game before All-Star. Nico Batum's going to throw the headset on for us downstairs. Nico, you got... Oh, Quinn Corrigan's helping us out down there. As they put the headphones on, hand Nico the microphone. Nico, you got us?
I got you.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you for doing this. All-Star break is next, and you guys come into this building on the second night of a back-to-back. You fall down 20, but you found a way to get to overtime and get the win. What were the conversations like throughout the ball game as you're trying to climb the mountain, playing from behind most of the night?
We had a nice run to start the second. They made a lot of threes. I think they went like 12 for 16, something like that from three. That was insane. Yes. So we knew. We hope that at some point it will cool off a little bit. And now the way we ended up the first half was pretty good though. We carried to 6. Kind of struggled to start the third, but I think the mindset was there on defense. We never let go. We kept fighting, and then the small lineup at the end. I think we did good though. We did a good job switching everything, fighting, rebound. Came back from 15, and that was a good win for us.
Great win for you guys. Talk to me about what it's like playing with guys like Bogdan Bogdanovic, Patty Mills, Ben Simmons. A lot of guys you probably played in international basketball, now getting to call your teammates this year with the Clips.
Yeah, it's funny. Now we keep talking about it for the last couple of days about like how we met, FIBA stuff every summer. So now we're teammates. So I used to hate Bogey, to be honest. Got in him like with Serbia. Now it's just great to have him as a teammate. And Patty, we were like rookies together. We know each other for like 20 years. So it's good to have our boy back.
Nico, you come away with 2 huge threes in this game. 30 minutes for you tonight on the second night of a back-to-back. Enjoy your All-Star break. Much deserved.
Thank you very much.
Congrats on the victory. Clippers come away with a win, 120-116. They take down the Utah Jazz, and they will head into the break on a 3-game winning streak. For Carlo Jimenez, our engineer, Eddie Greenwood, our statistician, Kristen Spear, Daniel West, and Adam Oslin back in the studio. Adam's going to take over, and we are done from the Delta Center. The Clippers get a win, and for the first time in 10 seasons, sweep the Jazz. We'll step aside on your Clippers Audio Network.
This has been LA Clippers basketball.
This is a team committed to winning.
Every thrilling moment all season long can be heard right here and on the iHeartRadio app.
They look like the best team out there.
Clippers basketball is brought to you by the Kia Telluride, official vehicle of the LA Clippers, by the Hawaiian Islands. It's not just the place, it's the people that make Hawaii special. By your Southern
How about one more hashtag comeback clips before the All-Star break? They were down 50-30 in the first half. They come back to win in OT in Utah, 120-116. Welcome into your post-game show. I'm Adam Osland. Coming up, we got second half highlights, your post-game box score, and more. But first, while we have a moment, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Let's get back out to Carlo Jimenez from Delta Center in Utah as the Clippers showed heart, grit, toughness, and a whole lot of talent, especially with the small ball in the second half to pull this one out. Welcome to the Clippers, Ben Simmons. And how about Norman Stormin Powell? Not an all-star, Carlo, but drops 41 in this ball game. Will be in the three-point contest, and he went 5 of 10 from distance. And maybe we lost Carlo Jimenez. It was that type of game. Carlo Jimenez drops as the Clippers come through, as they dropped a few through the net late. It was Norman Powell who was able to knock down some clutch free throws and get some big buckets in overtime in this one, as the Clippers had to take it there where they would outscore the Utah Jazz 12-8. And a lot of that was from Norman Powell going downhill. I said it. My key to overtime: get to the rim, get to the basket, be aggressive out there. I know it's tough when you got tired legs. Norman Powell played 46 minutes in this ball game, guys. James Harden was at over 49 minutes. The Clippers emptied the tank before the All-Star break to get one of their best victories of the season. I know it's Utah, but with how hot they started from the outside, they hit 9 threes in the first quarter alone. The NBA record for most threes made in the quarter is 11. They hit 9. The Clippers overcome that and do it with some new acquisitions as well in Ben Simmons, who was fantastic. He ended up playing 27 minutes, had 12 points, wasn't afraid to also get to the basket for some layups, get to the free throw line. He was 4 of 4 there. Bogey also 7 points. This Clippers team, they came together when they had to late. They win in overtime, 120-116 in Utah. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Second half highlights are next as the Clippers enter the All-Star break 31-23. They are 8 games above 500, and they've only had Kawhi for 15 so far. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers enter the All-Star break in style with a 20-point comeback in Utah just for them to win in overtime, 120-116, your final. Welcome back into your Clippers locker room show. I'm Adam Osland. Coming up, your final box score, and we'll have Clippers talk for you on AM 570 LA Sports, 866-987-2570, 866-987-2570. Let's get to these second half highlights. Clippers were down 50-30 in the first half, but they cut it down to just a 6-point lead. Entering the half, it was 60-54, and in that third quarter, a sign of things to come, it was storming Norman Powell getting it going.
Clippers on the run. Dunn, right wing Norm, open for three. String music. Hands it Norman Powell, left wing three. Cha-ching! Norman Powell, back-to-back threes for the Clippers. James spins it, Bogdanovich. Drives, finds Norm, left corner, wide open three. Target practice for Norman Powell, who's got 26 tonight.
Stormin' Norman Powell, helping to lead the charge for this Clippers team. But unfortunately, the Utah Jazz would eventually start knocking down some shots again to end that third quarter. They overcame the 9 points from Norm in the third, and they led 95-86 heading into the fourth. In the fourth quarter, your MVP for this season so far with the Clippers, that would be James Harden.
Harden on the right wing against Cody Williams. Clippers down 7 with the ball. The beard, Euro stepping, fancy finger roll off the window. James Harden with 24. The Clippers back within 5. Clippers on the run. Harden far wing, open for three. Yes! James Harden pulls the Clippers within 2. Harden in between the circles, a right-handed dribble. Mihailuk in his airspace, a step back three. Bottoms! James Harden with 31! And the beard on automatic.
James Harden with 10 points in the fourth quarter. And we were all tied up at 108 after the Clippers got a stop with 1.1 seconds left. I believe it was Keontae George who would miss a three-pointer for the Utah Jazz to try to win it. In OT, the Clippers scored first this time, and it was Stormin' Norman Powell doing most of the work in the final 5 minutes.
Norm skips down the right alley, right-handed layup to the rim for 2. Norman Powell with 38, and the Clippers by 3. Norm's season high is 39. He's got it left wing with 38. Crosses left hand, drives, Euro steps, layup, 40 ball. Norman Powell bringing the heat to Utah. 119-114 Clippers. A minute to go in overtime.
Norm with 9 of his 41 points in almost 46 minutes of play in the final 5 minutes in overtime. And the Clippers came through with a 20-point comeback to win 120-116 in Utah over the Jazz. Coming up next, we got your final box score. The Clippers are now 31-23 entering the All-Star break. We'll tell you when they play next and who you should be paying attention to this weekend. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Stop me if you heard this before this season. Man, I'm proud of this squad. I'm proud of this team. The Clippers battle back down 50-30 in the first half to win in overtime in Utah, 120-116. Yeah, you can say, well, why were they down 20? Because the Utah Jazz couldn't miss from the outside. They were unconscious from distance. And the Clippers fought through it. They didn't say, hey, it's not our night. We're going to turn the page. We got some time off here. They didn't have a foot out the door because the All-Star break has now arrived. They battled back. Coach Lou went small. Ben Simmons played 27 minutes in his debut as a Clipper. Was fantastic out there. And next to Batum, Norman Powell, James Harden, and at times Chris Dunn as well as Bogey, they got it done. Winning by 4 in overtime, where Norman Powell took over, went headfirst towards the basket, did the hard stuff to pull the Clippers through, and had 41 points in 46 minutes. James Harden with 32 in his 49 minutes of play. Those two guys have been doing it all season long. Do I think the NBA made a mistake going with Kyrie Irving as the injury replacement in the All-Star game for Anthony Davis? Proof is in the pudding. Look at what Norman Powell's been able to do. Addition by subtraction. Should have been an all-star. But you know what? He'll at least be in the three-point contest. James Harden is an all-star. And they had their stars perform late when they needed them to. They were 0-2 in OT going into overtime in Utah. And they just figure it out late. Ivica Zubac didn't play after the third quarter. This Clippers team goes small. Credit Coach Lou. Just can't say enough about this squad. Their will to win. They end up shooting just 42% from the field against a team that shot 49% from the floor. The Jazz go 18 of 45 from distance. I believe, going back to yesterday, it's the second straight game. The Clippers took down a team that hit 18 threes against them. While the Clippers were just 14 of 38 from three, but timely ones. St. Nick, a big-time three down the stretch. Here's the difference in the ball game. Just like yesterday, the Utah Jazz had 26 turnovers. The Clippers just 10. The Clippers ended up with 16 more shot attempts in a game where they also took 10 more free throws. That's not easy. But they created 26 turnovers. They overcame a hot shooting game from the Utah Jazz, not being able to defend without fouling for a while. And eventually, I think the Clippers, they took notice of that and said, okay, we'll go into attack mode then too. If you're calling a game this tight, they went 28 of 36 from the free throw line. Some huge shots to get it into OT. James Harden in the fourth quarter was incredible. Eventually, he started to run out of gas, and then Norman Powell took the baton and had, I believe, 9 points in overtime. 9 of their 12 points. Got layups, got to the free throw line. Clippers win 120-116. They come back down 20, and this is how they enter the All-Star break. They're 31-23. The Clippers' next contest, outside of James Harden competing on Sunday in the All-Star game and Norman Powell competing Saturday night in the three-point shootout, they start a 7-game road trip next Thursday in Milwaukee. Outside of Los Angeles, we are leaving you until then. In LA, we got you for the next 45 minutes or so on AM 570 LA Sports. Outside of LA, we'll talk to you next Thursday. In LA, do not go anywhere. It's Clippers Talk next. Welcome to the Cardiac Clips, Ben Simmons. In his first game as a Clipper, he gets baptized into Clippers culture, which is a never give in, never give up mentality. They were down by 20 in Utah. They come back to win in overtime, 120-116 over the Jazz, and enter the All-Star break 8 games over 500 with just 15 games played by Kawhi Leonard so far. Welcome into Clippers Talk. I'm Adam Osland, 866-987-2570, 866-987-2570 is the phone number if you'd like to, guys would like to call in. Appreciate the chat in here as well at Clippers Talk on YouTube. What a victory. What a way to finish the first 3/4 of the season, let's call it. With the All-Star game on Sunday, Norman Powell in the three-point shootout Saturday night, and the Clippers' next game a week from now in Milwaukee. The Clippers had to have it. They played with desperation. They played their guys huge minutes, including Ben Simmons, who got up 27 minutes in this one. He only averaged 17 per game with the Brooklyn Nets. They need all 27 minutes from him. 12 points, 6 assists, 3 steals, 8 boards, and 0 turnovers from Ben Simmons. Did I mention a change of scenery could be good for him? How about that start? His debut as a Clipper, and he's playing big-time, crunch-time minutes in the fourth quarter and overtime. Coach Lue went with what got him back into the game, going small. After the Clippers looked to be making a little bit of hay, getting back into the ball game earlier in the third quarter when they were down by just 6 at the half after trailing 50-30 at one point in the second quarter, where the Clippers went almost 5 minutes without making a field goal. They couldn't hit anything. The small ball wasn't working then. Ben Simmons didn't look great then, but he went back to it late. He didn't give up on it, and it paid dividends. The Clippers still trailed 95-86 entering the fourth quarter. But James Harden said, "Get on my back. I got this. I've been doing this all season long." He's been their MVP. He's been their best player. He's been so reliable. And on a back-to-back, they just beat Memphis last night. James Harden ends up playing 50 minutes. And in the fourth quarter has 10 points. That fourth quarter into OT was just heroic by this team. Started off with a miss from James Harden, though. Ben Simmons then wins a jump ball. Was very active defensively. They had Bogey, Simmons, Batum, Harden, Norm out there. Simmons goes to the line, guys, and knocked down all his free throws. Now the Clippers are down by 7 after he hits 2. A Simmons layup, it's a 5-point game as he bodied Filipowski, who had his best game as a rookie for the Utah Jazz, looked unstoppable. They got him into foul trouble, though. He eventually fouled out on a play from Norman Powell. Then Simmons has a dime to Norman Powell for a layup as he split the defenders with that pocket pass, Ben Simmons, early fourth quarter. Jazz hit free throws. Harden layup. Scoop to his right. 5-point game. Then you have back-to-back turnovers. Bogey and Norman Powell. It wasn't all great. Batum gets blocked by John Collins after a great feed. Norm misses a jumper. And Nico gets a little bit of revenge, blocking Collier on the other end. Harden 3, 2-point game off a pass from Ben Simmons. Harden to the line. Misses one. But now it's a 1-point game. Harden was very good at times defensively too, gained deflections. He had a steal that led to a missed floater But a Norm putback, Lawler's Law, the Clippers got to 100 first. It was 199 after they were down 9. Entering the fourth, that Harden steal, I believe, on Filipowski. Missed the floater. Norm was there for the putback as he went up high for it among the trees after that huge dunk he had last night against Memphis and Aldama. I didn't talk about that enough post-game. Norm's got hops, too. Was in a dunk contest in high school. Put him in the three-point contest and the dunk contest. Game got tied up at 100 in the fourth after George went to the line, went 1 of 2. Harden 3-ball, as it was him, Batum, Simmons, Dunn, and Norm on the floor. That was a key small ball lineup for Coach Lue down the stretch. Nico then misses a 3. The Clippers brought in Bogey for Bennett at the 5:12 mark, and I thought, well, this is it. They're up by 1. Ben Simmons' night is probably over. He hit 20 minutes. He was on a minutes restriction. He doesn't play back-to-backs anymore. He was averaging just 17 minutes per game as a member of the Brooklyn Nets. I thought he was done. Norm gets fouled on a layup with the Clippers up 1, hits both. Clippers up 3, Markkanen jumper. It's a 1-point game. Harden airballs a 3 at the 4-minute mark, end of the shot clock. Looked to be getting gassed out there. Clippers are up by 1 at 105 to 104. Markkanen retakes the lead with a bucket for the Utah Jazz, makes it 106-105 Jazz. Harden to the line. I mean, this was a back-and-forth battle. The Jazz wanted this one. I didn't even think Markkanen was going to play. I didn't think John Collins was playing in this game. They didn't have Sexton. They didn't have Kessler, but Filipowski was fantastic. Ben Simmons then comes back into the ball game. And the Clippers get a turnover thanks to Ben Simmons and his defense on Filipowski, who threw it out of bounds, looking for a guy in the far side corner. But Harden gives it right back on a bad pass to Simmons on the right block. Simmons gets a deflection. Clippers have the ball. They're up by 2. Harden misses a 3, but then gets a steal. The Clippers had a 3-on-2. They slow it down. Ben Simmons finds Chris Dunn for a jumper around the free throw line. Can't get it to go. But it was a good pass. And you just saw the ball was hopping around when Ben Simmons was out there next to James Harden. This Clippers team, they did just enough late, even though they were missing some shots. They got the Jazz to miss. Keontae George missed. And then Collier gets that offensive rebound in a timeout with 1.1 seconds left at the end of the fourth quarter. But George, I believe, missed the three-pointer to put it into overtime, 108 all. It wasn't going to be easy. It looked like at one point the Clippers were going to win this one in the fourth quarter. The Jazz kept battling. Collier hit a couple of tough free throws at 45 seconds, or with 45 seconds left in the fourth to tie it at 108. But then that miss to go into overtime, as it was, wow, they didn't put the tracker here. I think it was Keontae George who missed that three-pointer. The team that scores first in overtime has a huge advantage with just 5 minutes left and a bunch of guys gassed out there. And Carlo Jimenez asked me, what's the key? I said, get downhill, don't settle for jumpers, get to the line. It was a tight whistle out there. And right away, with Harden, Batum, Simmons, Norm, and Dunn out there to start overtime, Norm gets fouled on a layup. Hits both, puts him up 110 to 108. Filipowski, bucket, tie game. And then one of the biggest shots of the ball game, maybe the biggest, St. Nick three-pointer. Up 3 in overtime feels like you're up 10 sometimes. They get a stop. Norm goes to the rim again. He went right the first time, then left the second time. Went at Filipowski, fouls out. Norm hits both free throws, 115-110. And the Clippers finally had a little bit of distance. Norm would get to the rim again for a layup, going to his left. Just awesome. There were a couple of bad turnovers. The Clippers had tired legs. They overcome it all, and they win in OT 120-116 over the Jazz, as Norm Powell had 41 in 46 minutes, and James Harden 49 minutes played. Almost 50 minutes out there. He had 32, 10 boards, 7 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, and just 3 turnovers. And I think part of the reason he had more gas left in the tank when they needed his offense was because Ben Simmons was playing next to him a ton. And in the first half, I noticed right away how they were using Ben Simmons was he'd bring the ball up the floor with pace, with tempo, end of the first quarter into the second, and then give it up to James Harden. So James wouldn't have to bring it up. It's taxing. It's those little things that make a difference in a game where he ends up playing 50 minutes almost that kept him fresh enough. Ben Simmons taking up some of the ball handling responsibilities out there. Awesome victory. Great way to go into the All-Star break. Great introduction for Ben Simmons as a Clipper to have that hashtag comeback Clips type of victory. You know that can build up some camaraderie in the locker room after a victory like that. Let's go to Tejas and Walnut. Tejas, you're on Clippers Talk with Adam Osm. What's up, Tejas?
What's up, Adam? Man, what a great game. If everyone had a hand in this victory. I thought you basically described how the Clippers use Ben Simmons the way the way we envisioned, and that's the way it manifested. Like you said, bringing the ball up, taking the pressure off, playmaking ability, and we know he can't shoot from the outside, but he can still get those buckets inside.
Hey, and when he's not afraid to get those buckets, when he's not afraid to get those layups, that's a huge thing. I know. I talked to guys who cover the Brooklyn Nets. This has been an issue. Sometimes he'll do it. He'll do the hard stuff. He'll get downhill. He'll be relentless. He'll go there and go into attack mode. And it looked like he had all the confidence in the world because he was also knocking down free throws. So this whole label of Ben Simmons being afraid to attack because he doesn't want to get fouled, well, he went 4-4 the charity stripe, 4 or 5 from the field, 12 points. It was an awesome performance.
Yeah, and man, on the defensive end, him creating havoc, and he can pretty much guard 1 through 5. It was awesome to see, and he could take the pressure off, and Kawhi doesn't have to maybe play the 5 in certain lineups.
Well, you know who was playing it the majority of the time? It was Batum next to Ben Simmons in the second half.
Right, it was. That was just when Kawhi's there, maybe Batum doesn't get those minutes, or they'll stagger him depending on what they need between Batum and Simmons and that sort of thing. But, just wanted to, make one point. And before the season started, we got a lot of, the Clippers front office, a lot of backlash, obviously, for saying that, they let Paul George go for free.
Maybe from the casuals and the national media, they didn't let him go for free.
Yeah.
They got under the first apron because of it. They brought in DJ. They brought back Nico. They got Chris Dunn because of it. I mean, none of those moves happened if they had brought back Paul George.
Exactly. And it's not because he had a bad game last game. Paul George had a really bad game. I'm not bringing that because of that. But if you really want to see what the front office was scared for, the perfect example is look at Bradley Beal and Phoenix Suns. He has a big contract, a supermax contract or whatever it is, and a no trade clause. It's exactly what, and look how hard it was for them to trade him. They couldn't.
Yeah. And
every team probably was scared to get that contract. And this is exactly what the Clippers, the front office was scared could happen. And I just wanted to make that point.
And another guy they wouldn't have been able to get, and it's a great point, Tejas, is Ben Simmons. because if you're over even the first apron, you can't get a guy on the buyout market that was making more than the mid-level exception. Obviously, he was bought out of $40 million. He was way above that. I said all summer, Lawrence Frank cooked. Now a lot of people are realizing that. Lawrence Frank in this front office, they've done a tremendous job. They've helped orchestrate this Clippers record where they're 8 games over 500, and they've only had Kawhi for 15 so far at the All-Star break. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll get to your phone calls, 866-987-2570, 866-987-2570. In classic Clippers fashion, but with a new look with Ben Simmons out there and Bogey, they win in OT after they were down by 20, 120 to 116. Was your final. Clippers over the Jazz in Utah. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. And AM 570 LA Sports. Clippers win in Utah in dramatic fashion. 120 to 116 was your final in overtime as the Clippers trailed by as many as 20 points in the first half. It was 50-30 Jazz. They cut it to 6 at the half. But a key moment was after the Jazz got it back up to 16 at the 4:18 mark of the third quarter, back-to-back threes by the Clippers. Nico Batum, big shot, sign of things to come. Norman Powell with a 3 to back it up. Now it's a 10-point game. And the Clippers got it down to just a 9-point lead heading into the fourth instead of being down by double digits. It was 95-86, manageable. Then Harden took over for 10 of his 32 points in the fourth. And Norm took him home. I want to say he had 9 of his 41, 9 of the Clippers' 12 points in OT. Just hashtag comeback Clips brand of basketball tonight. And they did so with your newest Clipper in Ben Simmons. Let's go to one of my favorites. I haven't talked to him in a while. Lenny in Inglewood. Lenny, what's up? You're on Clipper Stock with Adam Osland.
What's up, Adam? Man, let me just say this. I got a couple things. I think seriously, I thought Lawrence Frank was kind of lost a little bit of his way, but man, when he orchestrated addition by subtraction and Norm Powell, but I'm gonna tell you something. If he was the one suggested to get rid of Mo Bamba, they should give him a statue. He should be the first one because I couldn't take it, man. That dude didn't look like he was ready for the moment at all. And when he brought in Ben Simmons, and I've been saying this for a minute, he just needed the right spot, man. He had worn his welcome out at the Nets.
Yeah.
And anything that can shut up that loudmouth Stephen A., who I cannot stand. This dude just dogs people out. And I'm telling you, Ben Simmons with Ty Lue's guidance, Brian, the other, what's the guy who threw the Lakers? Brian, the assistant coach.
Assistant coach with the Clippers? Oh, Brian Shaw, former Laker.
Brian Shaw.
B. Shaw.
Yeah, man. They're B. Shaw. They're gonna work with that cat. I mean, I think this is Ben Simmons' best game in a year. I've never seen. I mean, just all around, and the fact that now he can give Kawhi some relief at Garden at 4 and 5. Kawhi can't do that no more, man. His body cannot. I mean, when you get those dudes and they lean up on you for 2-3 quarters, that takes a toll. And you get a big body like Ben Simmons who can give you that relief. Lawrence Frank, man, I'm serious. I think straight up he should be the first dude to get a statue because if they get to where, first of all, the Forbes magazine said they're the second best team in the Western Conference. That these moves that they pulled, G-Man, we loved him when he was here, but it was time for him to move on.
Yeah,
give him space somewhere else. Bogdanovich can hit that three. He's got to settle in. We need him to settle in and start banging that space, that floor three.
Hey, I'm not worried about Bogey at all. I am not worried about Bogey at all. They will start to fall in bunches. Believe that.
Well, if he does, man, and let me tell you something. They should do this for the fans, everybody. They should just go on ahead and make Norman Powell just a bone. He should retire a Clipper, man. This dude has been doing it. The fact that he went out and produced this kind of season when they knew Paul George, that just doesn't happen, man.
It's over. They're calling the fight. Norman Powell is a better player in 2025 than Paul George. That is over. That debate. I didn't know we would be having the conversation this early, but I said early in the season in November, I said, we may be having a dialogue by the time this season is over that Norman Powell at this age at 31 is better than Paul George at 34, regardless of the contract. He's just better.
Exactly. Now, he can't match his podcast skills, but we roll with that too, because I didn't like that. His focus wasn't in the right place for me, man. Norm Powell was about basketball, getting better, and getting the most he can out of his abilities. And Lawrence Frank and them guys, they brought in Derrick Jones. They got a squad, man. And Ty Lue, you give him pieces. He's a chess master. Give him the pieces that he needs. So I look forward.
And Ben Simmons is like a queen on a chessboard with all the different things he can do for you, right?
Absolutely, man, baby. 1 through 5. And like I said, he's 6'10". He can guard the 5. He can guard the 4. He can let Kawhi, float back into that, float where he is. But Kawhi cannot be holding power forwards. That's the one thing I always said. I said, that's not going to work. That's not, but I'm glad they got a big body to come in there. And Ben Simmons, I think, is going to be the comeback kid, man. I know he can't get the award. I mean, Norm Powell has it to me, but just a really good chemistry, man. And like I said, straight up, I think Lawrence Frank, that they should look at him for a statue. If they get to the Western Conference Finals, and we'll say what happened beyond, that was a phenomenal. It's one of the best managerial GM moves of the last couple of years. So anyway, man, you're doing a great job, Adam, and I'm glad I can enjoy watching these cats again. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Lenny. Don't be a stranger. Don't take too long between phone calls. 866-987-2570, 866-987-2570. We'll take a timeout. Clippers win in overtime. They overcome a 20-point deficit in the first half, a 16-point deficit with about 4 minutes left in the third quarter. They take it to OT. They win in overtime, 120-116 in Utah over the Jazz. That's what they ride into the All-Star break at 31-23. More Clippers talk coming up next here on AM 570 LA Sports. Clippers win in overtime. 120-116. They trailed by 20. Hashtag comeback Clips. They're back. They take down the Jazz in Utah. They've won 3 in a row after losing 3 in a row. They go into the All-Star break 31-23. Welcome back in, Clipper Nation. I'm Adam Osland. This is Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports. I talked about this early on, but the Clippers got 26 turnovers from the Utah Jazz. They only turned it into 20 points, but that's their average. Points off of turnovers per game, it's 20. They're second best in the league in that area. It is necessary for this team to get victories. This is what they have to do. It's a part of what they do. So is this. Norman Powell, big buckets late. He has been a stone-cold killer in fourth quarters going back to last season, where he shot, I think, 50%, over 55% from the field and about 48% from three in fourth quarters last season, and he's right there again this season. 866-987-2570. Kyle in LA. Kyle, what's up here on Clippers Talk with Adam Osland?
Hey, man, how's it been? It's been a long time since I reached out, but, what a great game. I'm super excited. And I'm just super happy for Ben Simmons. I'm glad you guys have been getting on about it. Like, he looked like he loved basketball again. He looked like it. And it's just like, I can't expect too much from him because I do kind of believe that he's got demons that have where he's getting his own way. You know what I mean?
Well,
so I kind of feel like that
he might have exercised some in this ball game, Kyle, with the way he was able to get to the basket and looking fearless out there, of going to the free throw line and making big shots.
That's why I'm so happy for him. I mean, the stats didn't even say it as much. He had a hand in everything. That little his flash to the top of the free throw, and then a quick pass. He's just rifling those balls right out. The passes are fantastic. Super excited about him. I'm just happy for him because he's had a rough go of it. I know he's got some shitty stuff he's got to go through, but I'm happy for him. And I love our organization, man. People come here and we support them. You know what I mean?
This is what Clipper Nation does.
They feel like they have a role.
This is another reason I was surprised Paul George left. You know, he went from a place where people got into the trenches backing him when he'd have a bad series. That's not going to happen in Philly, but when you're with Clipper Nation, when you're rolling with Clipper Nation, we got your back, and they are going to support Ben Simmons. And I think this is going to be a breath of fresh air, this environment for him as a Clipper. I think this is a good fit, Kyle.
Yeah, well, that's why I appreciate what the last caller said. I think it was Lenny talking about the addition by subtraction thing that Powell was getting at before the season. Like, it truly is. And I'm glad he brought up the podcast because, man, I feel like people are hard on PG and they take his words out of context a lot of times. But I would get so annoyed when he would put up like 10 shots and then go on a podcast and be in a good mood. It would just kill me. And when you look at Norman Powell's just a dog. He's just a dog. He's just someone you want in a fight. And I just love him. So I love him so much. It definitely was addition by subtraction. I do think he should have got him over Kyrie. I agree with you there.
There's really no argument. Like, the Clippers are ahead of them in the standings. They've gotten, I think, even with Luka Doncic, now a Laker, and how many games he missed. He hadn't played for them since, I think, January 1st or something like that. He'd been out for a while. I still think they've gotten more games from Luka Doncic to the Dallas Mavericks this season than the Clippers have gotten so far from Kawhi Leonard. And Norman Powell's been their leading scorer. I mean, he's been their guy. He might be at 25 points per game after just dropping 41 in this one. So, like, there's a clear argument, but, like, I get it. It's a name game. It's a popularity contest.
It's fan service. Yeah.
I never like it, but I like this phone call, Kyle. I appreciate you, man. Call in next Thursday, all right?
All right, man. Have a good night.
We'll take a quick time out. We'll come back. We'll finish the phone calls here. 866-987-2570. Clippers big victory. Down 20 in the first half. Down 16 late in the third quarter. They come back to win in overtime in Utah, 120-116. Entering the All-Star break in style. James Harden will be playing in the game on Sunday for, I think, the old man squad or OG squad is what they're calling themselves. He's playing with some of the older players. I think he's on LeBron's team, Steph's team. It's a different format this year. But Saturday night, Norman Powell in the three-point contest. Knock him down, Norm. Make the league pay for not making you an all-star because you should have been. Take it out on him. I'm Adam Osland, and this is Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports. Clippers win 120-116 in OT as Norman Stormin Powell dropped 41 points in the victory. Should have been an all-star. Quickly, we got some phone calls to get to. Julio in Wilmington. Julio, you're on Clippers Talk with Adam Osland.
Hey, what's up, brother? I was just calling because so I'm glad you kind of brought it up. I'm just trying to figure out what's up with Norman Powell. Why he wasn't an all-star? I mean, it is kind of crazy the fact that he dropped 40 this game. He's been our best player, and
I think he's been their best scorer. I would say James Harden is their best player. Norman Powell is more dependent on James Harden than James Harden is on Norman Powell.
So you think if James Harden was on this team, Norman Powell would be doing the same thing?
I think Norm would struggle much more without James Harden. He doesn't create as much off the bounce. James Harden is the offense. He is the system out there. Much more is asked of him. Norman Powell isn't bringing the ball up the court all the time. It's completely different. But I get your point. He's their number one scorer, and he has been super efficient out there all season. Going back to last year, too.
I mean, what was that?
He was efficient last season as well.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, what if Norman wasn't on this team, but James was? I mean, what would be the difference,
I think they would have much more trouble. I've seen James Harden without Norman Powell some. I think they would have much more trouble without James Harden than they would Norman Powell. You got to understand, James Harden is playing two roles. He's tasked with scoring. Yeah. He's also tasked with orchestrating the offense and setting the table. I appreciate the phone call, Julio. We got to get to some more people on here. Call in next Thursday, Julio. It was a very good point by you. Sergio and Whittier, you're on Clippers Talk with Adam Osland. Sergio, you're killing me, man. How are you going to stay on hold and then not be ready? Sergio, I'll throw you back on hold. Quentin from the chat has called in. Quentin Cornett from Los Angeles is with us. The man who believed Ivica Zubac, all he does is dunk when he has 50 more hook shots than anyone else in the NBA this season. Quentin, I'm glad you called in. How are you? And Quentin hangs up. Man. Sergio?
Hello.
Sergio, we got you now. Sergio and Whittier. 1 for 2. What's up, Sergio? This is not the way to go into the All-Star break. I don't know what the problem is with our phones all of a sudden. Can we try Jose and Downey for the love? Jose, are you there?
What's up, Adam? How you doing, man? Great win, brother.
I'm not exactly shooting like Norm here. Very inefficient with the phone calls. We just went 1 for 3 there. Thank you for being ready, Jose. What's up? Quickly.
Hey, man. I have a question on the when are we going to see a little bit more on Eubanks, man? I didn't know he was injured. I think Zook can use the help. I think Ben Simmons was a big help to him today. Ben Simmons had a great game, and they shot well when they needed to, man. That defense showed up today. I'm really glad. Biggest thing, I think I was glad to see them win a back-to-back. I know the Jazz had a back-to-back, but they're younger. It was good to see them, man, actually show up when they needed to.
Jose's showing up in a big way. People in the chat saying Jose is carrying us right now. Quentin couldn't be relied upon. Maybe it was the shot I took at him about his Ivica Zubac take. I don't know what it was. But, Jose, I appreciate you. Call in next Thursday.
All right.
Clippers win in overtime in Utah, 120-116. They got about a week off now. They'll be in Milwaukee next Thursday. But this weekend, do not miss James Harden in the All-Star game on Sunday. Norman Powell, All-Star festivities Saturday night in the three-point shootout. Before we get out of here, I do want to thank the Clippers organization, Ralph Lawler, Brian Seaman, Noah Eagle, Carlo Jimenez, Big Brother Jake Warner. What's up, bro? Our producer back here in the bank, Daniel West. Well done as always. You know, if you're listening on the YouTube side, we'll have another Clippers Talk episode for you. We're not missing a day during the All-Star break. Starting tomorrow, we'll be on with you. I'm Adam Oz, and we'll talk to you then.